Hi, ladies. Okay, one of the things that I often get asked is about what I do for a living. I have been working from home since before the pandemic, and I work in the real estate field. And I work for an attorney, and I am a title examiner. And what that means is I sit and I read documents, and I make reports. I work on various projects, but my job is essentially to read, understand the documents, and report my findings. Okay, and I do that for various different companies that have hired the company that I work for. All right, and I love the really complex stuff. I've been doing this for, let's see, 36, 37 years in some capacity. I've done it where I've worked for attorneys, I've worked for title companies, I've worked for banks. And what my skill set is primarily is that I know the state laws for the property, because property laws are different in each state. And so I have to understand what the property laws are in the states that I'm working on and how the documents, and I'm looking at, well, I can't say always. I look at a lot of recorded documents that are at the Register of Deeds. And I also look at documents that are not at the Register of Deeds. I look at probate documents, judgment documents, child support, just a myriad of documents. And my job is to figure out how it affects property, how it affects real estate, and be able to write reports about my findings. Okay. Now, my range of stuff that I do is pretty broad. I work on a lot of large projects, which is actually at this point in my life my preference. Give me a stack of work and leave me be, because I'm kind of a loner anyway. So I'll sit in and work on projects for days on end. I also have the ability to search property at the county level. That means I can go into a county and look through their records and figure out the ownership of property. I can read tax records, read property records, wills, probates, divorces, anything that affects property, and some things that don't affect property, but it's mostly things that affect property. I can go into more detail. I've always thought about sitting and writing, because I also train for what I do. And sitting and writing maybe, I don't know, a book or something, or a guide. Because what I do is not very difficult. If you are a reader, that helps. Number two, if you're detail oriented, because it's a lot of documentation. And so you have to sit and read and get it accurate and be able to report it all. Probably the third thing is to be able to read, to be able to understand the state laws. Because, like I said, they're all different, and I switch back and forth. I live in Michigan. I work in Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, Illinois. I did a Florida file. I did a couple of Massachusetts. So I'm all over the place. But I have to learn all of the real property laws for that state. So that means I'm familiar with real estate deals, with how banks work, how financing works, how big redevelopment projects work, how condos work, how planned unit development works, how zoning works, just all that stuff. So that's kind of a broad description of what I do. And if you'd like to know more about it, I'd be more than happy. I have a lot of real estate stories, because when you sit and read documents, baby, the documents tell you the story of people's lives. Some of it is fascinating, and I'm going to tell you one. And this is one many years ago. I lived in California. And I don't know what happened between this couple, but there was a recorded document, and the husband signed a document that stated, if I ever cheat on my wife again, and it lists his name, her name, and their address, I will give up every bit of property rights that I have in all these properties. And it listed all of the properties that he owned. Sounds like somebody was a bad boy. Love you, ladies.